Alarm bells are ringing across California as the city of San Francisco just approved a ban on e-liquid flavors, allowing only tobacco flavoring to be sold within the city. According to vaping advocates, the San Francisco flavor ban is part of a coordinated attack targeting e-liquid flavors in multiple California jurisdictions, with more likely on the way. The state of California is waging all-out war against vaping. Home to progressive politics and experimental culture, California can also boast some of the harshest vaping restrictions in the country. In just the past couple of years, the Golden State has classified vaping as a tobacco product, rejecting all evidence pointing to its efficacy as a tool for harm reduction. It has also instituted vaping bans for public spaces and the workplace, and even in one's own vehicle if a minor is present. Perhaps most appalling, California continues to wage a multi-million-dollar misinformation campaign intended to stoke fear and galvanize public support against vaping.
There's no worry that a parent's gonna find us vaping on social media. We've gotten really good at hiding it from our parents.
I know I'm underage, but it's just something that I do. I won't let it affect my future.
It's messaging such as this that paved the way in last November's election for California ballot Proposition 56 to pass with 65% public support. Prop 56 instituted the state's first direct tax on e-liquid containing nicotine. As of April 1st, 2017, these products became subject to a 27% tax on the wholesale cost. And on July 1st, the tax soars to a whopping 65%, which could increase a $20 bottle of e-juice to as much as $50 a bottle. One might think California has done all it could to destroy vaping, but that would be wishful thinking as the all-out assault continues. This spring, a coordinated effort by activist legislators at city and county levels saw flavor ban legislation introduced, and in the case of San Francisco, quickly passed unanimously into law. Introduced by Board Supervisor Malia Cohen, the flavor ban is intended to protect African Americans and the LGBT community from getting hooked on tobacco through enticing candy and fruit-flavored products. At the public hearing on June 14th, San Francisco Board Supervisors demonstrated a willful disregard for the evidence that supports vaping as a tool for harm reduction, and they pandered to the notorious anti-tobacco zealot, Dr. Stanton Glantz.
We've been getting a lot of email, and personally I think this is a myth, but you're probably the leading tobacco researcher in the world. That's been put forward is that this will disproportionately hurt e-cigarettes, and e-cigarettes are a harm reduction strategy that helps people get off of tobacco. Now, I think, from my perspective, I think it does the opposite thing, but I don't have the data or the expertise to affirmatively say that.
Well, that's an area where there's a lot of research accumulating. We published a paper about a year and a half ago that showed that smokers who use e-cigarettes are 30% less likely to quit smoking than smokers who don't use e-cigarettes. And so while it's true that some people have successfully quit with e-cigarettes, for most people they actually make it harder to quit. Moreover, while e-cigarettes deliver fewer cancer-causing chemicals than conventional cigarettes do, they deliver as much ultrafine particles and certain other toxins, and those ultrafine particles trigger inflammatory processes that lead to heart attacks, that lead to strokes, that lead to non-cancer lung disease.
Joining us today to discuss California's war on vaping and the impact of San Francisco's flavor ban is Alex Clark and Jennifer Berger Coleman from the consumer advocacy group CASA. The Consumer Advocates for Smoke-Free Alternatives Association is a 501c nonprofit with over 200,000 members drawn from across the country. CASA is dedicated to ensuring people have access to low-risk alternatives to smoking and the accurate information needed to make informed decisions. Thanks to both of you for joining us today on RegWatch. Jennifer, let's start with you as you're on the ground in California. Please describe to our viewers what happened with the bans.
there were six cities and a whole county that introduced flavor bans all at once. What do they call it? Shock and awe. I mean, it was just like boom, boom, boom. One day after the next, it was like, this flavor ban's introduced, this flavor ban's introduced. Who's going to go here? What are we going to do? You know, it was a very coordinated effort to introduce them all at once to make sure that we don't have the manpower or the, you know, the wherewithal to get to all of them at once to coordinate. So,
Alex, it appears the San Francisco Board of Supervisors rammed this flavor ban through, considering it was only up for just 60 days, and then they passed it on first read.
It's not completely out of the ordinary that they would do something like this, but it was a surprise. It was a surprise to a lot of us. Even people who are close to this issue, people who've been working on this issue for years, were caught off guard by this decision. And what this ordinance will do is it prohibits the sale of flavored vapor and tobacco products in the city of San Francisco. I believe there's around 8, 9, maybe 10 vapor shops in the city of San Francisco. Those shops would not be able to sell flavored e-liquid in flavors other than tobacco. The practical effect that we believe will happen is that vapor shops in San Francisco will just have to shut down.
Jennifer, you were at the public hearing on June 14th in San Francisco. Could you give us a read of the room?
I think there were people there who didn't know any better, honestly. I think they got teachers and I think they got kids to come in and, you know, hold the signs about, you know, not wanting to smoke and ban flavors, save our children. I think there were people who genuinely don't know any better. And then I think there are people who make sure that they genuinely don't know any better.
Jennifer, what were you thinking while watching the hearing? How did it make you feel?
Oh, it makes me feel infuriated. I mean, obviously they're playing with public health. People are gonna die, you know, and it seems like they don't care. All they have to do is merely suggest that a child might get their hands on it, and they're killing all these like hundreds of thousands of people based on what might happen with a child, which is really just a matter of simple enforcement. I mean, in California, they raised the tobacco. That's another thing that happened last summer. They raised the age to 21 for vapor products and tobacco products. They're taxing the hell out of it. California has done everything it's gonna do. Now they just need to enforce it, you know? So saying that children might get their hands on it and might become addicted to it is ignoring this whole populations of millions of smokers that need help now.
Alex, should vapers be worried about the future of flavors in California?
Absolutely. Alarm bells should be sounding everywhere. This is not going to be isolated to San Francisco. We've seen flavor ban proposals in New Jersey. New York City had one a couple years ago that never saw the light of day, but that doesn't mean it won't come back. And flavors have been a topic of discussion at the federal level as well. So, you know, this is just the kind of first really big flare-up that we've seen.
Jennifer, the last question is for you. Do you think anti-vaping zealots like Dr. Stanton Glantz and organizations like the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids are really just helping to keep people smoking?
Absolutely, they're helping to keep people smoking. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is something that only smokers understand. I don't really know. If there were not such a thing as vaping right now, I would 100% still be smoking. 100%, I would still be smoking right now, regardless of the cost, regardless of making it legal, illegal. It wouldn't matter. Absolutely, without a doubt, if not for vaping, I would still be smoking a pack a day.
Well, that's it for this edition of RegWatch. Before you head off, please like us on Facebook and don't forget to follow us on Twitter. For RegulatorWatch.com, I'm Brent Stafford.